I'm very excited and very curious. Good morning, YouTube. You know, the truth of the matter is that I'm feeling kind of banged up. I've been running a lot. I just got a Peloton, been trying to bike, and that's a lot of fun. So my legs are a little bit tired. I wasn't expecting to really try to push the pace this week, but then a certain shoe showed up at my door. And I was like, how can I not run in these, give them a true test? And that shoe is... oh man. This is the Atreyu Running Company carbon plated shoe called the Artist. When I saw that these were going to be a thing, I was blown away, super excited, because you guys know I love Atreyu's base model shoe, their daily trainer. I think it's fantastic, and for the price point, you can't beat it. So is the carbon plated racer gonna be the same kind of thing? So we're gonna lace these up, we're gonna go for a run, and hopefully I'll be all right out there with tired legs, but I do wanna try to give these the true test. And then we're gonna come back and talk all about my first run impressions of the Atreyu carbon plated shoe, the Artist. The Artist, right?
Where do we go from? Where do we go from here? No one can save us from keeping clear. I don't wanna lose you, I don't wanna lose you now. 'Cause there is only one thing on my mind. Hey, I just wanna see you on my new Crave. Hey, I just wanna see you on my new Crave before you turn around and walk away. Hey, I just wanna see you on my new Crave. I can do my own thing. I can do my own thing.
All right, I'm back from my run, and now it's time to talk all about Atreyu Running Company's The Artist. If you guys want to know more about Atreyu, maybe you've never heard of them, I'll link the full review of their first shoe right here. That video talks a lot about this shoe, their daily trainer, about their business model, and my opinion on what the brand is doing. Spoiler alert, it's pretty positive. But if you don't really feel like looking at that video, that's fine. I'll give you a very quick overview right now. Basically, Atreyu Running Company is a brand from Austin, Texas. They're making simple, lightweight, efficient running shoes at an extremely low price point. And not only that, but they're offering a crazy business model of a subscription plan. So you can pick if you want your shoes to show up every 1, 2, 3 months, and they'll send you a new pair. So I'll be making some comparisons to the daily trainer version, but today we're gonna talk mostly about the Artist. These days, every running shoe brand has a plated shoe, whether it's nylon, whether it's carbon. They have some sort of shoe somewhere with a plate. And I think Atreyu Running Company knew that, understood that, and so they came out with the Artist. This particular version is a prototype, but I'm told it is pretty damn close to what the version will be that goes out on the market. So just keep that in mind as we're going along here. And of course, before we get started today, I do want to let you know this pair of shoes was sent to me by Atreyu Running Company. However, they're not going to see this video before you. I'm allowed to say whatever the heck I want about this shoe. My opinions are always my own, whether they're good or bad. They're made in this brain. Let's get on with the specs. Atreyu Running Company's The Artist is 6.2 ounces for what I believe is a men's size 9, and that sounds pretty accurate because I'm a women's 10 and a half. That's what I have here. And yeah, it's 6.2 ounces. We got 30 millimeters of stack in the heel and 24 in the forefoot for a 6 millimeter drop. And the good news for all of you wondering out there, because I know that you are, the Atreyu Running Company's The Artist is true to size. The upper of the Artist is a lightweight breathable mesh, and it's exactly the same as Atreyu's Daily Trainer. It really has no overlays at all, with the exception of a little bit of a toe cap, and there's also a medial and lateral stability weld within the upper of this shoe. Don't take stability weld and run with it. This is a neutral running shoe. The laces are flat, they stay tight, and they're not stretchy. The tongue is the same as the Daily Trainer. If you're not familiar with that, basically it's a generally thin tongue with some nice padding. It's not gusseted, but it does stay in place. I've never had an issue with an Atreyu tongue slipping and sliding all over the place, so that's great. The ankle collar really has minimal padding here. We do have a pull tab, and the heel counter really doesn't exist, just like it doesn't in the Daily Trainer option. I'll be honest with you, sometimes I like a little bit more structure, but when I tried the original base model shoe, I was super blown away with that upper and just how it feels on your foot. It feels like butter, and that's no different here. It kind of disappears when you put it on, and you barely even feel like you're wearing a shoe. It fits better for me with a thicker sock, but it still feels fine with a thinner sock, if that makes sense. I would still order the same size that I'm holding in my hands right now. If I were to compare this upper to another carbon plated shoe on the market, I would say that maybe it's closest to like the Endorphin Pro. That also has a very thin, breathable mesh upper. If you're looking for a race day shoe that's breathable, then I mean, this is almost as breathable as you're gonna get. I had no issues with hot spots, blisters, irritation, nada. Atreyu really did a great job with the upper of both of their shoes. Moving on to the midsole of the Artist. In my version of the shoe, which again is a prototype, we have a TPE blend foam and a carbon plate sandwiched in between the layers of material. I'm told this midsole foam could change. It could be a P-Bax based foam by the end of this. Atreyu believes it's their duty to pick the best foam that's gonna fit this shoe. So what do I think of the midsole that I have right here? I can tell you right off the bat that I was really impressed with the way this felt underfoot. The TPE foam here is really soft, but mixed with that carbon plate, you get a nice toe off and propulsion into your next stride. The plate here isn't super noticeable. It's not like the Next Percent or the Meta Racer. To me, it kind of reminded me of a softer Endorphin Pro in the sense where the carbon plate works with the midsole and it's not so intrusive and jarring and obvious. It feels more like your foot is gracefully going forward rather than being forced by a plate. I took this shoe out on 2 runs so far. I have about 11 miles in them, and my first run was for me a tempo day where I was really trying to push the pace as best as I could. And I think despite the softness of the shoe, it performed amazingly. I was easily able to get up on my toes, and when I really started moving, it was like the shoe didn't want to slow down. Especially going downhill, forget it, I felt like I was flying. I think regardless of whether Atreyu Running Company decides to stick with this foam or use something P-Bax based, they got a winner here with whatever they're doing with this plate. It works, and it works nicely. I could absolutely see runners taking this to marathon distance, no problem. It's got the juice. A couple things that I will mention, and this is kind of specific to me in my running stride. As an overpronator, I was definitely overpronating in the shoe, as I do in most high stack height shoes. But I think maybe what would be a little beneficial here is if we widen this platform ever so slightly. I will say that going downhill, I did feel a little bit unstable and going around some turns. I don't think somebody with a neutral foot strike will have this problem. I think it's really specific to people who don't have a neutral foot strike like me. Maybe in that forefoot, if it was just a little bit wider. And of course, the other thing that I'm going to bring up is the durability of this foam. Again, I'm not sure if this will be the final foam that's used in the shoe that hits the market, but either way, this TPE material is creasing quite a bit, and P-Bax also does crease. That is a characteristic of that type of foam. But we're gonna see how it holds up over time. I have some creasing on the lateral side, probably can't really see it, and more creasing because of my pronation on the medial side. Nothing crazy. Again, look at the Next Percent, look at all the Vaporfly shoes, they crease like hell. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a problem. It's just something that I noticed, and I'm just interested to see how the foam feels and hangs on to its life. I would say that it feels most like the Hyperion Elite 2. It's still different from that, and I would say maybe it's even a little bit softer. But it feels like the Hyperion Elite 2 in the sense that there's a lot of stack and the plate's not intrusive. Like, it works with the foam. It doesn't work against the foam, against your foot. So both have a really smooth ride. If we turn the shoe over, you'll see that Atreyu Running Company is using blown rubber for this outsole. We have a one piece with a cutout in the midfoot. It's quite interesting because it looks like there's absolutely no tread pattern on this shoe. But if you look closely, there is a little bit of texture to this rubber. I gotta say, I had my reservations about how this outsole would hold up, but I'm really impressed. It actually grips onto surfaces really well. Now, I took it on dry days, but I did have some wet patches of concrete that I ran on specifically to see how this would do. And I didn't slip. I didn't feel like my stride was compromised. I didn't feel like I was about to fall over. And you know, it's funny, I think that other big brands could really learn from this because we don't need all this carbon special rubber. Like, this is just 1 millimeter of blown rubber and it performed fantastically. As far as durability goes, obviously I'm not sure how it will be yet, but in testing we'll find out. Though I don't think it's going to be an issue really. The artist will be available for pre-order on Atreyu's website in the coming months for 100. Wait. 100. Can you believe it? I can't even believe what I'm saying. $100. This shoe will be available for $100. Name a carbon fiber plated shoe that is under $200. I will wait. All right. Get it together. Relax. Whew, okay. The point that I'm trying to drive home is that that is an insane price for a carbon plated shoe. You cannot get much better than that. You won't. And the $1 million question I know some people will ask me is it worth it? And I'm gonna say yes, it's worth it. I mean, for $100, this shoe is doing what the $200 and $250 shoes are trying to do. I mean, at $100, you should at least try it. I think they're gonna make a killing on this shoe. I truly do. I love this shoe. I think it's a true competitor to those bigger brands, and I like it better than some of those shoes. You know that saying, little fish in a big pond? Well, I guess Atreyu Running Company could be considered the little fish, but they're kind of starting to eat some of the big fish in the pond. I'm so excited to put more miles in this shoe, and I think you will be too. Well guys, that concludes my first run impressions of the Atreyu Running Company's The Artist. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit that notifications bell down below so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Train in this, race in this. Train in this, race in this. I have some more videos coming for you guys next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like heller. See you next time. Are you ready to make a video?